Hey, good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast. I have my co-host off screen because she has been technically challenged this morning to like the nth degree. So I'm looking in the green room to make sure she really is going to be there. I can't guarantee if I bring her on screen. One, I know she'll be dancing, but two, I don't know if we'll hear her or see her, but let's give this a shot. Okay, here we go. I'm going to test this. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm hysterical. Now you have me on. Wait, this is the right? Yeah, this is the right side. No, that's the wrong side.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Well, hey, welcome, Leslie. Gosh, you might want to go buy a lottery ticket because it's got to go your way.
Oh my gosh. I tell you what, technology the last month has just been driving me crazy.
Jeez.
Oh, and I'm trying to turn the air conditioning down from my phone. So if I'm not looking at you, that's why.
You know, it's not like we're 26 minutes late getting into our broadcast, and, which means absolutely zero too, because we're right on time. Because it's been technically challenged, it couldn't get audio, couldn't get speakers. So moving forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be recording Leslie, and I'm going to turn into an avatar, and I'm going to use ChatGPT to do an interactive voice, and so she'll always be on time, and she'll always be supportive of me and
you're making me cry.
Anyway,
oh my God.
So Leslie, today we have a topic that might be slightly over your head because it's technical. No, I'm just we're going to talk about AI prompts and teaching AI your knowledge base. And before we get into that, I just want to share something that in one of our networking groups, something come up, and it's not just there. I hear this far too often because I was in an AI workshop over the weekend, and some of the people there, I would say they're fairly new, and their experience with ChatGPT or Perplexity, any of those, is fairly new, and so they would say something like, I just get really bad results. I put stuff, I'm not even using it because the content that comes out of there is really bad. It's hallucinating, all this kind of stuff. I just want to point something out.
I was going to say, tell the story about the guy in Denver.
Well, I just want to point something out because that's a totally different story. I should take off screen if I can finish this talk, because I could do this whole thing. Anyway, what I was saying is, so the complaint is that the tool is bad. But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. If you gave me a hammer and expected me to build a house, the results would be pretty crappy. Not because I don't know what a hammer is, but because I don't know how to use the tool in the way that a carpenter would use that or a builder would use that. But today, we're going to show you when you use the right approach for getting results from ChatGPT or any of the AI models, that your results will be improved because there's a process for that. It's just like, if I were that person who is have a hammer and I follow directions, I follow the blueprints, there's a chance I'm going to have a much better result. Today, we're going to give you that blueprint.
Yeah, so, for sure. And it makes a difference.
What's that?
You don't care what I say. It's okay.
So she's just here. She's like Vanna White. She's going to be turning some banners later. But I want to talk about what's called. We can talk about this: conversational and engineered prompts. And conversational prompts are probably what most of us do, and quite frankly, what the models with the evolutions have tried to get us to do. Sometimes we talk about vibe coding. Well, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, like vibe conversational prompts. And if I asked you, Leslie, what a conversational prompt meant to you, what would you say?
I would say, what's a prompt?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, because people watching this that are new to AI might not know what a prompt is.
Well, a prompt is literally just asking a question. It's almost like, imagine you're a parent and you're talking to your son or daughter, or you're a spouse and you're talking to your other, and you ask them to do something. Consider that a prompt. You're saying, hey, John, take the trash out. Sally, the little girl, go make your bed, right? So that could be a prompt. You're just giving that that in this case, artificial intelligence, you're giving it direction. And when you do it
Right.
conversationally, what you're doing is it's just very loose, right?
Right.
It's
You
almost
say,
like
right, make me a picture or do
exactly.
this. No finite direction, right? It's just having a conversation with AI saying, hey, I need an image for an email that I'm doing, and the topic is this. Can you make one without any further direction?
Even yeah, that's pretty much it. Or say, hey, can you write me a blog post for my website? Like that's
Yeah.
very vague. And so what happens is it really goes back to that GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. And I think about this as like any tool we have, Leslie, if we don't use it properly, we blame the tool
Right.
instead of saying, wait a minute, I need to up my knowledge, up my skills. And then, like that example with the hammer, I can become a craftsman instead of somebody who just puts holes in the wall and then
Right.
complains that it's a bad hammer.
Yeah. I teach that all the time with the software. If you don't follow the procedures and you don't put in your data properly, it's never going to give you the information that you want. And it's the same thing with AI, right?
That's exactly right. And here's the thing. AI wants to please you. It wants
It
to give
does.
you some answer back. And it is so good at crafting an answer back that is so believable that you'll think, okay, that's the right answer. And now I'm gonna dovetail into that example of Dave Lindell, the My Mr. Pello guy.
Right.
And so a while back, because when you're watching this is I think we're somewhere in maybe even October, late September, is his attorney was sending documents into the court. I think it was Minnesota, and when he sent those in, his attorney sent those in. The court accepted them, and then when they started looking at it, they found out that the references to other case law never even existed.
Right.
So the story went on to blame ChatGPT. And it's not ChatGPT's fault. It is the responsibility, in this case, of the attorney or the paralegal to go through everything and get it done. It's not even, in my opinion, it's not Dave Lindell's responsibility.
Right.
It is the attorney. That's what they're paying him for. The attorney should be chastised, not ChatGPT. The tool is phenomenal. It will change your life, whether it's personal or professional. It will change your life if you know how to use it. And today, Leslie and I are going to roll out the blueprint for that.
We're going to try to. Isn't it Mike Lindell?
Well, it could be. I don't know if it's Dave. I thought it was. Hold on. Let me ask ChatGPT.
Okay. I think it's Mike Lindell.
Mike or Dave?
Lindell. See, we're going to do this real time for you guys.
It's Mike Lindell. Sorry, not Dave. It says he's a
Never
CEO
question.
of My Pillow. So it's Mike
Never
Lindell.
question me.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I quite frankly, I was so shook up with everything that's gone on before. I'm just happy freaking to be here. So let's jump into this conversation. And engineered, if we think about this, here's the difference between conversational and engineered. And think about this. If you are using it for business and you're building something, let's say you have a factory that builds widgets. Do you want every widget that comes out to be exactly the same? Of course you do. You want the quality there, right?
Right.
Now, if you use conversational employees versus an engineered product that turns it out, you're going to get inconsistent and poor representations of what you really want. So think of engineered as saying, wait a second. Engineered is a process that if I do these, in this case, there's going to be six steps every time, then my outcome will be almost the same every time, high quality. If you're looking for that,
go ahead.
this is what you want to do. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, but there's a caveat to that. You have to teach it the knowledge base, and I may be getting ahead of ourselves here, but you have to teach AI the knowledge base from which you want to draw information. You can't just rely on whatever it grabs off the internet. Once you teach it what you want it to know, or who you want to draw information from, as in your group that you work with, then it will give you accurate information. But if you just go out there and say, grab me anything, that's what's going to happen. And if you don't check that, then you're going to get burned for sure.
Yeah, and you're going to see this as we walk through each one of these steps, how that will be filtered or folded into that. Because,
Right.
Here's the thing, and I think what Leslie's talking about, stop me if I'm wrong, is, early on in the early days when I started using ChatGPT, I would say, hey, I want you to be like the craft a story like This Old House. Right? Remember that show, This Old House? And I don't know. I'm on a building trick today. What it would do is it would know what that was about, and it would craft the response using that theme. And if I said,
Right.
hey, I want you to write a series of emails, and I want you to write them like Stephen King, do you think they're going to be suspenseful and scary? Absolutely. So I think that's what she's talking about. Or you can say, you know what? And again, these are down the road. I'll share with you. But let's say, for instance, I wanted all my emails, or Leslie wanted all her emails or her outcomes of blogs and things to sound like her and have her tone, have her style. Well, you need to create a base of knowledge. Now, that is what we call an example, okay? But the base of knowledge is still going out on the internet. It's just now saying, okay, I have all this information about, absentee home ownership, but now I'm going to filter it through how would Leslie talk about it? And then it out comes and says, oh, this information is really good and it sounds like me. So it's kind of a two-step process. Leslie, it's still going out on the internet and grabbing the information, but it's just filtering it through what voice, what tone, what style do you want it to be in? And then it comes out and you say, wow, this is really good. That's how you use prompt engineering.
Well, and exactly. And in your business, this is really key for if you're going to use this for business, especially those of us like me, the small business owners that are looking for ways to enhance the, not so much enhance the quality, enhance the quality of what we're producing, and so that it's extremely relevant to what we want. We wanted to take our knowledge a step further, right? Just another level of professional is what we want. And so I've noticed with ChatGPT in particular, because it's the one I use, I started using that, and we've already decided that I'm not going to move to anything else because I don't have to teach it all this stuff. It's another system to teach it, so I'm happy with ChatGPT. But if you look, like for me, I loaded up tons of newsletters and tons of content that I had created, booklets and articles and things that I've written. And I kept saying, learn my voice, learn my voice, learn my voice. Then I started loading in links that I always used. Or I got tired of putting the little trademark symbol behind executive errands, for example. So I would say, when I say EE, I learned this. When I say EE, it means executive errands with the trademark symbol. And this is the phone number for executive errands. And this is the phone number for concierge business solutions. I taught it all of that. And now when I say, I need to write a newsletter I say, write me a 500-word newsletter about this topic. And it pulls from all my information and gives me a newsletter in my voice with my humor, or sick as it may be, my humor, so that it sounds like me. Now, I do go back through and read it, and occasionally I wordsmith it, but the longer I get in, the longer I spend doing this, the less corrections I have to make, because it just learns how I talk and how I say things, and it learns about new anecdotes from the business based on content that I've created. So it becomes almost like a person sitting next to you with access into your brain that can produce what you want. But it's really important, as Jeff is explaining, that you learn how to ask it those questions. I'm all about teaching it. And Jeff is about how to ask the question. And sometimes the things he comes up with blows my mind about the way he says things, like for example, just real quickly, we were doing I think we talked about this once before, where we were loading in our test results and we wanted to have ChatGPT analyze our test results. So the way you do that is you don't just load them in there and say, tell me what you see. You say, you're the world's best blood diagnostician with access to global information regarding blood tests and the results that they come back with. Analyze this particular one and tell me not only what it means in English, because sometimes those things are hard to discern, but also create me a plan for resolving the issues where I'm short, right? So, and then you just upload the PDF with that. That's a PDF of your test results. And in my case, it came back and said, hey, basically it's showing me I'm low on salt and dehydrated, which are byproducts of each other, iron and salt and water. And it said, this is what you need to add into your diet. This is how you can fix that. And it will resolve that, which I thought was incredible. And so that's an example, non-business related though, of a way to ask it the right question so you get the answer that you need and have it pull from the right global internet information. It's pulling all the best blood diagnostician information, right? That's right, right?
Absolutely. I want to make a very clear distinction here about what Leslie's talking about, because it's a little vague. There's what we call a knowledge base.
Right.
And if you don't put anything in ChatGPT except a prompt, it will go to the internet. That is its knowledge base. But what Leslie's talking about is she has added all her content from years past and current into ChatGPT and asks it to learn from that knowledge base.
Right.
That's a big difference. Like, when you do this, then it is very, very clean, very, very clear. Because as an example, Leslie's been doing this for 20 years. And if she's put in 20 years worth of blogs and videos and that type of stuff, and then asks us to go to the knowledge base, it's not going to hallucinate. It's going to use the information there to structure the result back. So that's a knowledge base. If you don't have that, don't feel like, hey, I can't have a good conversation with ChatGPT. That's not true. You just have to then tell it what you're looking for. As it says here, prompt engineering is basically the craft of talking to an AI in a way that gets you the best possible response.
Right.
Different experts slice it differently, and that's why I want to put this out there. Leslie, because she has tons of content, she can slice this differently, and her content will go out, and it's not searching for what if, it's searching into her notes and her database. It's almost like saying, hey, go over in those files and I want you to pull out information about X, Y, and Z. And it's in there and it's in her voice. And so then when it comes back and it creates a response, it is in her voice. When she puts in the blood report, that's a different thing, because then she's saying, hey, I don't want you to act as Leslie, because Leslie knows nothing about this. I want you to act as the best blood scientist, or what do you call it? Blood diagnostician. And I want you to review the report that is here and then tell me what to do. That's a different story. Now you're using access of its ability to say, this sucker knows everything. And it gets smarter every day. So that's two different ways that you can do that. Okay, so
have you ever seen the movie Wreck-It Ralph?
I've never even heard of the movie Wreck-It Ralph.
It's a cartoon. The second one, Ralph breaks the internet, and so they go there, and there's a guy there that's like ChatGPT, right? It's a little icon, and he knows everything about everything, and he asks questions of it, and it pulls all this data out and tells you. That's kind of what AI has become. It's like this little guy or gal sitting there with all the knowledge. Either you've taught it or it's pulling it off somewhere else. And I will tell you too, one of the most incredible things I've noted with this is that the more it does for you, the better information you get. Sometimes it gives me things that are not in my knowledge base, like a twist on how to say something, because it almost knows what I'm trying to say, even though I can't articulate it properly, which is both scary and wonderful. I mean, it really is helpful for getting a new approach on things and more professional. And, all of us are using this to say, rewrite this email in a more professional way so I can say something without offending somebody, or, we're all doing that. But to create content for your business, especially, it's pretty amazing. Let's get into your 6-step model. I'm curious to see what you say.
Yeah, before I hit this, because I want you to understand, when we talk about this, if you'll think about this from a standpoint of like, wow, if I direct people, I'm a leader of people, and it could be your children, your spouse, your employees, it doesn't matter. If you followed this 6-step recipe, it would make you a better leader, and it would make those people who are being given the instructions have a much higher outcome. I just want you to know that, because if you're very clear with your directions, it's like as a kid, when my parents would say, go clean your room, make your bed. Well, what I thought was cleaning my room and making my bed. And
yeah, no kidding.
It's not even close, but I did what they asked me to. That's conversational prompting. But then when they realized, whoops, but it usually was my fault. In this case, it would be the fault of the person given directions. So this first one is define the objective. Be crystal clear about what you want the AI to do. Without clarity, the AI just guesses. And this is where we say it will now hallucinate. It's trying to satisfy your need, right? It's going to come back in and give you an answer, and it's going to do it in such a way that you're like, I believe it. And you're going to submit it to the court. You're going to realize, oh crap, those cases never existed, right?
I can't believe anybody would do that without checking it anyway. I mean, that's kind of sloppy lawyership, if you ask me.
It is, but the thing is, it does happen. So instead of asking, tell me about marketing, you could say, write a 500-word blog post about 3 cost-effective digital marketing strategies for local HVAC businesses optimized for SEO. You see the difference there?
I never say optimized, but I should say that from now on.
Well, now you could probably say optimized for SEO and GEO, right? And if
GEO is AI, right?
Generative engine optimization, right? So you see that whenever you go into Google and it says AI overview, that's optimized. So it's possible you're going to be referenced there. Or if you went into one of the AI models, and instead of going to Google, you went to them and asked a question, hey, where's what's an HVAC company near me? Well,
if you, by the way, sorry for interrupting you, not really, but sorry. So if you guys that are watching this haven't seen episode 24 of our Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted podcast, be sure you go back and watch it. It's not necessarily a prerequisite for what we're talking about here, but it will scare the bejesus out of you, explaining about how digital marketing and social media algorithms have changed to take advantage of AI. And if you are not using AI in your marketing, in your network, in your marketing and social media, you're going to lose out. Your whole business is going to be invisible. So episode 24.
Right down to your website, Leslie, right?
Right. Yeah, everything.
If it can't read your website, which for local businesses is the majority of them, I'm going to say probably in the upper 90+% of local businesses, their websites, Leslie, they're not built or refined for the AI agents, or the AI bots to read their website. So in their mind, it's like, hey, I can't read it. It doesn't exist. I'll move on. So it's an opportunity for those businesses locally, in any local environment, to say, well, if I optimize my website for AI, I could then jump ahead of my competition. So there's an opportunity.
Didn't you just produce a tool that analyzes your website to see how it rates for AI search bots?
I did. It's a way for somebody to put their business their business website URL in there and their email address. And then this tool will analyze your entire website and give you a feedback, and it'll grade you 0 through 100 and A through F. And it points out the areas that are key and where you know, in each block of area, it'll grade you on that. And if you need that of like, okay, why isn't it? It'll say, well, let's say you have too many what's called H1 big headlines on the same page. And it will say that, well, that hurts your ability to be picked up, not just in SEO, but also in GEO. So these are the kind of things you can do. And it's free. It's a new tool I made, and it's for anyone. I'll put it in the chat.
Is it on your website?
It's not yet. We're well, actually, yes. By the time this comes out, it will be on the website.
Because I think that because not only does it tell you how you rank, it tells you what to fix, right? Which I think is key, because then you can take it to your IT person or your webmaster and say, hey, we need to fix these areas so that your website will be more effective out in the internet sphere, because it isn't anymore. I mean, I can't stress that enough. I've been sharing that podcast episode with everybody I can find, because it's terrifying. Yeah. You know, we just spent all this money doing social media and getting this and that. And I'm wondering what's going to happen to all these influencers, because they're not optimized, I don't think.
No. It's going to make a tremendous difference. And, you know, that's something. I had a conversation with another digital marketing company. I have one-on-ones with digital marketing companies around the world. And I often would ask them, starting, 6-8 months ago, when I started really kind of pounding the drum of this, and they're like, no, I don't know anything about it, or that's not going to be a big deal. And I was in a meeting yesterday where we were talking about the impact, and a website that they spend about $2 million a year optimizing every year and driving traffic. Their organic traffic, and this is what we're talking about, gang, organic traffic is down 40%.
Because of AI.
Because we don't need it. We get, hey, we're lazy. When we get the answer, what are we going to do? We're going to move on, right? We don't need to look at all 10 choices when the AI comes up and says, here's the answer. And you're like, this satisfies me. I don't need to click into the website. So it's called zero click. But that's starting to have a tremendous effect on.
It's only been 2 weeks. Well, it's been 2 weeks as we're taping this. It's been a couple of months as they watch this, but it's only been 2 weeks. So these changes came out, and I just can't stress. Watch episode 24.
Well, okay. So the first one is be crystal clear in what you want it to do. Define the objective. Right. The next one, Leslie, is provide context.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I had a yawn. Go ahead.
Give the AI background information so it can respond in the right frame. So give an example of that, because the word context sometimes would confuse me. Like, well, what exactly is that? Like it is this. You are a marketing expert. Like Leslie said, hey, you're a blood diagnostician. So you're a marketing expert with 20 years of expertise working with small service-based businesses. Explain to a business owner with no marketing experiences how to improve their, in this case, Google business profile. That last line is real important, because if you don't, I like to put in there, explain it to me as if a bright 7-year-old or a bright 5-year-old could understand it. And it'll come back with all that experience. Now, what I found is anything over like 20, 25 years, it doesn't matter. So you can say 50 years worth of experience, it doesn't matter. About 20 years, that's a good number. But you tell them, you could say you are a fill in the blank. You are an absentee homeowner expert with 20 years of experience working with local homeowners in a high-end service-based business, right?
Right.
Blank, blank, blank. So you could fill that in. Does that make sense?
You can do this prompt for all kinds of things.
100%.
You're a Michelin-rated chef who, has worked all over the world, and, create me a menu of seafood for a party of 12, and it will do it. It will absolutely do it. So
just keep in mind, and now this is a second, this is a second part of this. One is you defined your objective. Hey, what do you want it to do? Right. The second is provide provide, be crystal clear about that, and then provide context, right? The next one is to specify the format and the structure. This is where sometimes people get in trouble. They're like, I can't even read this. Tell the AI how you want the answer presented. Do you like it in bullet points, numbered steps, paragraphs, whatever you like, right? Like sometimes I will ask it to say, because I'm asking sometimes technical things, is give me the breakdown, but then explain it in simple terms and give me an example of what you mean, right? Of how it works. So that way I can look at it, and that for me, I'm crystal clear. Does that make sense, Leslie?
It does. And what I do, because I have a tendency to lose the things I create in ChatGPT, I know about projects and stuff, but somehow I lose the content. So what I do now is I say, give it to me in a downloadable Word format.
There you go.
And so then instead of telling me what the results are, it gives me a download, which I can then immediately download, open it up, read it, and then go back to chat and say, okay, this was good, change this or do this, so that I always get something, a record of it. I don't have to copy and paste. I don't have to do anything. It's just a downloadable Word document for myself. Now, I have had it make forms for me, and then it comes out, but I always say make them downloadable. You know, create me a form with checkboxes or whatever you want. And, or you can say, create a PDF or create me a high-res image of something that I can download, right? You definitely don't want to try to just save it, an image from ChatGPT, because it gives you a link back to ChatGPT. And if you're like me and you lose things, you lose the data, then it doesn't find it. Whereas if you click on the image it creates, it lets you download it. So that's also helpful. I don't know if that still fits in with what you're saying, but we're talking about formats. And so
100%.
Yeah. So you want to, there's little tips and tricks that you can do that we're finding out. Well, you're the guru. I'm still finding out by trial and error on how to use this tool, which is flipping amazing. I mean, in my lifetime, I used to say the iPad was the be all end all of everything. The internet was great, but the iPad to me was like the biggest innovation ever. But this AI thing is really quite astounding. It just, the things you can do with it when you use it properly, boggle your brain. It's like we get so excited. Oh, so talking about that, do we want to talk about how to protect yourself from extra work? Is this a good time, or should we do that later?
I guess we can talk about that.
Well, we were talking about the other day that we're working more, right? We have this new tool that makes things easier. And so if you take, say you used to do newsletters by hand, write them yourself, and you use AI to help you, it cuts the time down from 2 hours to 2 minutes. I mean, it literally cuts the time down. So you should take that hour and 58 minutes and go play pickleball or go get a massage or go do something. What is that thing you have in your hand?
It's a pickleball.
Is it?
Because it's green, but it's.
I was gonna say it shows like it's like you're looking through it.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's so weird. But you should take that time and go do something else. Well, what do? We fill it in with more AI stuff. We said, oh, this is so cool. Let's do this and let's do this and do this. Right now, I'm doing two marketing campaigns that you're helping me with, one for each of my companies. Basically the same kind of campaign, but it requires new landing pages, requires a dozen emails, it requires a bunch of new images. It's huge. It's a click funnel basically that I'm creating for both of these businesses and trying to keep track of which one. It's insane. And all I did was take my hour and 58 minutes that I saved doing a newsletter and funneled it, no pun intended, into this other project. So we find ourselves working more with AI than we did. And part of it's the excitement and enthusiasm of realizing the ability to do things is limitless. The ability to be creative is limitless. And so, this is a public service announcement. Watch your time, because you can get sucked in pretty easy. I mean, we're both doing it, you and I. So if we do it, everybody's going to do it.
100%. Well, and the AI models are really good at we call it doom prompting, where we're figuring something out, and we're going to talk about it here in a second. But let's say, for instance, we get the results we want, and then at the bottom it says, would you like me to turn that into a PDF downloadable?
Yeah, sure.
Well, now do you want me to make that a landing page on your website? Well, sure, why not? Well, do you want me to do a presentation in PowerPoint? Okay. And you're like, wait a second, it's been 2 hours and I got the answer in 2 minutes, but now I have to put together a website landing page. I got a PowerPoint, I've got emails, and I'm like, all I wanted was this one item. And
that's so true. That's what happened to me when we were down there for my grandson's birthday, right? We had some downtime and people are yik-yakking and we were watching TV, and I started using my ChatGPT on my phone. And in an hour and a half, I had 2 marketing campaigns, images, emails, ClickFunnels. I had every landing page examples, everything in 2 hours. And I was like, wow. And now I want to go implement it, right? And we don't think about the cost associated with implementing some of these things either, because obviously, you know me, I would rather hire things done with experts than to do things myself. And so now I take all this and say, okay, I need somebody to create all this, right? And we're almost done with it, which is really awesome. But I was thinking about that this morning. It was only 2 weeks ago that ChatGPT came up with all this stuff. And all I was asking was one simple question. Yeah. How can I best market this, absentee home care? And all of a sudden I've got all this stuff. So you're right. It's like, it used to be called doom scrolling, right? It's kind of like, what's it called now?
Doom prompting.
Doom prompting. It's prompting you to do more work.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to say, Cheryl, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah.
That's addictive.
I don't want to get off of this format and structure for a second, because I want you to think about this. If you're writing copy for your WordPress website, as an example, you can ask for that. And it'll format it so it will work in there. If let's say, for instance, a lot of times I use a product called Make, which I use to create automations for clients. And so I'll say, we're going to use this. I'll tell it up front, we're going to use this for an automation tool in Make. So it will create what's called a JSON, and it's in code. So I can now copy and paste that right into that, and it speaks the same language. Instead of me then taking it and turning it over to my developer and him spend 2 or 3 hours converting it, does it like that because I asked it. If I wanted to say, I want to put this in an email, and I use this particular email, I use Constant Contact, I use Kit, I use MailChimp, whatever it is, Outlook, please format it in that style. It'll do that, and then it will put it together. So like some emails, you have a subject line and a preview or a pre-subject line. Well, right. If you don't ask for it, it's not going to give it to you. But if you tell it, hey, I'm using Kit, it will know it has that, and it'll put that information in there. It'll format it for you. So keep that in mind, and it'll save you time not having to clean it up and convert it.
Well, and that's the point of me saying about doing give it to me in a Word downloadable. Is exactly the same thing, because what will happen is it'll give you some information and you'll take that. I used to copy and paste it and put it in a Word document and stuff, and then I would spend extra time after I got the answer from ChatGPT formatting things. And so what you realize is, well, if I can format it, so can it. So then you just add that, whatever steps you're doing, you tell it to do them instead. And now you've saved that time too. I still don't go get a massage, but I saved the time.
But you could.
I could.
Yeah, you do have the time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So in the specified format, we've kind of talked about that, but I said, list the top 5 social media platforms for real estate agents. Provide the platform name, its main audience, and one best practice in a 3-column table. Right. So I'm telling them, I'm kind of stacking this up of what we're looking for. And then said, hey, what is the output I want? I want it in a one best practice in a 3-column table, because maybe then I'm going to copy that table and put it into another document. Right.
Yeah.
So the other one is set constraints. And this is put boundary around the output so it doesn't go too wide or too vague. This can include length, style, or tone. So as an example, sometimes, and this is probably more true if you use the voice AI, it's almost like, oh man, it's giving me a chance to talk. I'm going to talk a lot. Well, if you put some constraints on there, and what that might be is explain blockchain in fewer than 150 words using simple language that a 10-year-old could understand. Constraints prevent rambling AI syndrome because it can, right? So as an example, if you're asking a question, I'm turning it over to you, Leslie. Let's say, for instance, if you put something in there and you want to know if it can help you or not, at the end put, if you can, answer yes. If you can't, only answer no. And it'll tell you yes or no. If not, it'll go into this rambling reason of why it can or cannot. So make sure
that makes sense.
It'll give you a lot of time.
I don't use the voice thing. Not that I couldn't, but I'm a writer, as you know. So I prefer to write things down as opposed to speak them, because I can write more succinctly than I can speak. We've watched these. If you're watching these blogs or these podcasts, you know this is true.
I would challenge you to start playing around with that, because what will happen is your AI will start prompting you as if you and I are talking and said, well, Leslie, what do you mean with that? And as it's doing it, doesn't forget anything, because it's still going to transcribe the conversation for you. But you might find it helps you get your clarity faster.
I'll have to try it. I just haven't tried it.
Yeah. So the next one is use iteration. And what I mean by that is treat prompts as drafts. You want to refine it, test it, and reprompt until the answer fits, right? Because as an example, if I say, I want to build this AI so it writes emails for my clients in my online shopping business. And maybe I want to write a series of emails. So if somebody says, hey, has my order, has it been shipped yet? Well, I want to create a prompt that says that it can read that email, understand what it wants, and then output in a consistent way. Well, I'm going to test it. I'm going to keep testing that until I say, boom, that's what it is. Then that becomes your final prompt.
Right.
Right. And that becomes, as we talked about before, that's when you've engineered, not just said, hey, off the cuff, let me just ask ChatGPT another question and say, that really wasn't the answer I'm looking for. Go back to your engineered prompt. And I would recommend doing this, gang. I would just open up a spreadsheet, whether it's Google or whoever, and I would start putting in some things of saying, this was what my outcome was. I want to ask it for emails. What was my ideal prompt? What's my engineered prompt? And go through the things that you do in your business or personal life that you're using this for, and come up with that iterated prompt that you say, this gives me the outcome I'm looking for, whether it's a blog post, social media, email, whatever it is, video scripts, put it in there. So then when you're going back into ChatGPT, it's literally a copy and paste, and you'll find that absolutely things go so much faster for you.
Well, and also, if you're not sure how to prompt, you can ask it how to prompt. You can literally say, I need a prompt to do this. What's the best way to ask for this so that I get the best answer, or I get the most correct answer, or I get the most efficient, whatever it is. And it will tell you how to ask. Yeah. So you don't even have to know how to ask. You can ask it to tell you how to ask, which is exactly so weird.
And that's a great prompt, because, we're talking about creating the prompt, from the ground up, but you can, like you said, Leslie, you can reverse engineer this and say, hey, I own an absentee homeowner business, and this is who I serve in the area that I serve, and these are my ideal customers. What do I need to do to create a prompt to help me with and then fill in the blank?
Well, that's what I did 2 weeks ago. That's how I got started, because I wanted to come up with a new campaign to focus on absentee home care for executive errands. And then CBS, we're focusing on the 5-day challenge that we're doing, also the 5 Days to Freedom challenge. So, you can segment down a project, an effort, whatever you're trying to do. It's not just for marketing; it's for every aspect of your business. But it's particularly helpful for creating content, whether that's social media or newsletters or blog content. Or we don't script these podcasts, obviously, so we just freeform this one. But you could.
Goosey. I tried, but it got goosey from the very beginning.
it didn't work. I mean, it just, yeah, because I ramble for one, but we get off on other topics. And that's the whole fun of doing these podcasts, right? Is that it's interactive and it's fun. You keep talking to me about doing, what do you call them? Avatars, and they look like us and they talk like us, but we don't have to sit here and do it. Well, that takes all the fun away from me. I'm like, no, I want to do it.
We could be doom prompting.
Well, I know, but we could be doom prompting.
Yeah.
but I love doing these podcasts. So I don't want to automate this. I think that would not be fun.
Here's the last piece for this.
Okay.
And that is add examples or reference models. So let me go back to the very beginning when I said my parents wanted to teach me how to make my bed and clean my room. Ideally, if they took a picture of the bed being made exactly the way they want it and the room, the way it looked when it's clean, it said, this is how we want you to do this. After they told me, hey, you've got an hour, this is what we want you to do. And here's the picture of what you want to have happen. Then I have something to work off of, and I can look at my work and say, no, it looks like that corner of the bed is tucked in a little differently, and I could fix that. And then when I called them and said, okay, check my room, I have something as an example, and they say, yep, that's perfect. Well, the same thing is true when it comes to AI. When you give it samples of your work, let's say, for instance, Leslie, or let's use this. Leslie wants to write a compelling email that converts highly. But Leslie also is someone who gets a lot of emails from Russell Brunson, who knows how to write compelling emails that convert highly. So for her, it would be wise to say, hey, pick out 2 or 3 of his best converting or best emails, copy them, paste it in there and say, in my voice, I want you to write about X, Y, and Z, absentee home ownership, and use his knowledge, his expertise to write for me.
For a good close.
What's that?
For a good close or a good call to action or whatever.
From the beginning, right?
Yeah.
It would take that from the beginning. It would craft it in such a way, because here's where sometimes what happens is we say, well, here's the recipe to follow. And then we give it to somebody, and then they start going off script, and then they come back in and say, well, this didn't work. Well, wait a second. You skipped 2 and 3 because you want to do it your way. Do it let AI do it in your voice, but do it the way that has proof that it works well. I'll give you a perfect example in your world. Follow the wall.
Yeah.
You have a very specific process for your staff every time they go to someone's home, so that nothing gets missed. They follow the wall. Why do you do that? Why don't you let them just ramble?
Oh, because I want them to follow the right. I want to make sure we don't overlook anything and do it the proper way. Yeah.
I think the answer is you've proven that this works.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry. I've proven that works.
And you get the results that you want. Not
true.
Sometimes. So in essence, your follow the wall is an engineered process, right?
Yes, it is.
And so you can say, hey, with confidence, when you send your people out to look at these people's homes every day, that the results will be measured and expected because you've had them do this process. That's what we're talking about here. If you give them examples and say, here's an example of how I want you to use this, put it in my voice, go for it. Boom. You'll be surprised at the outcome. So use the example.
I agree.
We had one of these just recently in our content accelerator. Our content accelerator, by the way, it makes all the content for all our clients, including the blog post, the videos, the social media posts, and email every week for them. But we were starting for one client. We were starting to get some weird images, just out of the blue. Like all of a sudden, it was like they were in the Sahara Desert. Now we live in the Coachella Valley, and sometimes it's called the low desert or it's a desert. But it's not that kind of a desert. And neither are the people who live here. So what we did is we went back and said, well, let's create some ideal images we want and put it in there as examples. And boom, all of a sudden, the image quality went back. It was actually better than before. So when you give them examples like that, whatever it is, whether it's an ad, it's an email, it's a blog post, it could be a video, it will be, helping AI give you a better outcome.
I agree. So let's talk about, we've got a little bit of time left, and do you have more on this? I'm not sorry. I don't.
Well, this is an example. I'm just giving you an example here.
Okay.
Write a product description for a smart thermostat in the style of Apple's marketing, right? So here's an example. I don't work for Apple, but if I asked it to do it, my smart thermostat of Apple's marketing, and here's an example of Apple's tone, and then I would put that in there. That's of what we were talking about, right? I would give them Apple's tone and an example of what their marketing was only on my smart thermostat. It would tend to put it out in a very, I'm going to call it engineered result. So go ahead. The rest is yours.
So no, it's not. It's going to be yours. I just want to ask the question. So let's talk about your mastermind group, because I started doing this too. And I think it is one of the most absolutely clever ideas anybody's ever had. And I know I always pat you on the back because I think you're just a genius. But the mastermind group that you've created, we all know about masterminds, and a lot of us belong to mastermind groups. I have one on Facebook that people can join if they're interested. So there's lots of mastermind groups, but this one is special because it's AI specific. So can you talk about this a little bit, Jeff?
Yeah, sure. And I'm a big proponent of education. I look over on my wall and I've got all these lanyards hung up from over the years of going to education, no matter what I'm doing. And I probably got close to $500,000 of education over there on the wall that I've gone to. And so when I look at it, I try to say, how can I access the very best in the knowledge that I need? Whoever's the best in that area, how can I put that together? So what if one night I said, well, what if I put together a AI mastermind? And I thought, and so I asked that question, I said, sure, we can do that. And so I thought, well, who out there has tremendous amounts of content out on the internet that's relevant to what I'm doing? So I picked out 3, and I said, I want a total of 7. I picked out 3 and I said, you choose the other 4. And it came back with a phenomenal group of people in my mastermind that now what's really cool, Leslie, is I can access them anytime I want. I can ask them any question I want. And then let's say I get a response back from one of the group. Let's say you're in the group and I say, and Leslie gives me a great answer back. I want to go specifically deeper with Leslie. I can then isolate and say, Leslie, I want to ask you more about this. Mm-hmm. It's been a tremendous tool. And, one of the pieces of the prompt I put in there is I want these people in the mastermind not to stroke my ego, but to help me safeguard against wasting time doing something I shouldn't be doing that really would be a failure or a waste of my time. And it's been pretty cool.
It is. I created the same thing because I love this idea. I think it's fantastic. I wanted somebody like Einstein, but the problem is there's not a lot of content, not the kind of content we need. I mean, obviously there's a lot of information about Einstein and his teachings and things that he knows. But if you pick a more current author, you could pick like Tony Robinson. Is it Tony Robbins, right?
Tony Robbins, yeah.
Or Deepak Chopra, or somebody that you really are drawn to for their philosophy, their teaching style, their knowledge base, all the things that you really admire, and pull those people together as an AI mastermind group. Then when you ask a question to the group, and I know that I've been following your lead by saying, I want individual responses from each one. Don't try to talk over each other. Don't, finish a thought before you go to the next one. And you ask a question to that group. They give you their specific knowledge base answer. And it's quite, and not only their specific knowledge base answer, but what AI knows about you. So again, since I've taught ChatGPT all about my knowledge, right? Yeah. One of the authors I was working with, he suggests that you identify what sets you apart over other people who do what you do. And, I do coaching and mentoring. And so if you, and consulting. So if you look out anywhere, if you search any of that, you find there are zillions of people who offer coaching and consulting and mentoring. So you need to know what sets you apart from other people. And I identified that. I'm too close to it. I wasn't sure. I know I'm good, but I didn't know, specifically. And so I asked the group, my mastermind group, what's unique about me with Concierge Business Solutions? And because it has all of Concierge Business Solutions knowledge, and it works with me, and it knows my syntax and the way I write and all that stuff, it was able to come back and tell me 2 specific things that sets me apart from other people. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because then you can market yourself that way. You can use that information to wrap around social media posts, the way that you promote yourself, when you go to do a bio for somebody, all different things you can do where you incorporate that uniqueness into what you're doing. And it isn't necessarily just coaching and stuff either. It's like, this is if you said, I make hamburgers, we quite often go to hamburgers, but because there's so many options, right? You've got Five Guys and In-N-Out and McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's and all these people that make burgers. And you say, what sets me apart? What sets each burger company apart? Wendy's is the fresh handmade thing, and the flame broiled,
They're square.
And they're square, right? And then Burger King's got the flame broiled, and then Five Guys makes everything that they do. Everything fresh, but so does In-N-Out. So, I mean, there's just different. You got to find out what. I think it's the peanuts at Five Guys that sets them apart. They always have peanuts there, but the barrel full of peanuts. But there's all different things. Well, we just had that happen with poor Cracker Barrel, right? Yes. What sets Cracker Barrel apart? It's homey. It's it's Southern. You go in there and it's like a farmhouse, and it's comfy, and it's comfort food. I mean, there's all these things. And what they try to do, they tried to rebrand it to be more contemporary. That, even when you went into their restaurants, it was always kind of dark, like your kitchen. Wasn't bright and sanitized, right? And it has lots of stuff on the walls, like most of our homes. And it was just felt comfortable there. I used to work on the road for 10 years, and to me, Cracker Barrel was the epitome of home cooking, as close as I could get to home cooking on the road, right? Because to me, it wasn't like fast food. And the thing I got the most there, believe it or not, was greens and pinto beans. I used to love to get greens and pinto beans when I went to Cracker Barrel. So, but then they tried to rebrand it and lighten it up, make the lighting better, cut down the amount of stuff on the walls. And the outcry was so loud. People absolutely did. I mean, they were trying to make it look more like a Panera inside. And there's nothing wrong with Panera. I love Panera, but it isn't Cracker Barrel. Yeah. Right. I go to Cracker Barrel every time I get a chance to. By the way, there's one in Prescott. So when you go there, you can go to Cracker Barrel. But the closest ones to us here are 2.5 hours each way. Wow. There's one an hour away, and then there's one 2 hours away. So they've now rescinded the new brand. They're going back to the original brand, which is, I think, very, very wise. Did they get a ton of free marketing promotion over this little week-long period of faux pas? Yes, they did. Money you can't buy. I mean, attention you can't buy necessarily. But at least they're going back to the way it was. And I'm happy for that because, every restaurant is different, and every coach is different, and every business is different. Yes, we all have commonality between us, but every one of us is different. And so you have to find what makes you unique and special so that you can promote that. So I love the mastermind idea that you came up with. Again, the whole capability of AI is limitless. It really is. You just have to think of creative ways to use it, but you come up with stuff constantly. I don't know how you do it.
I'll share this with you just real quick, if you don't mind. I'll just share my screen where I have that.
Sure. You can share your screen. I tried. I couldn't do it.
So this is. Let me just take this over. So this is an example. This is the chat. Basically the prompt that goes in there. So my council members, I chose Liam Otley because he is, in my opinion, he's the leader in AI and automation and strategy. Dan Martell, he's a business systems and time management coach. He has, several 8 and 9 figure businesses because of that. Peter Diamandis, I mean, he's a futurist, exponential tech entrepreneur. He does the X Prizes, things of that nature. Naval Ravikant, he's a wealth philosopher. Alex Hermosi, he has this incredible ability to create, as it says here, wealth philosophers, but he can put together deals and offers. So I thought that was really good. Miyamoto Musashi, warrior philosopher. Now, this was one that AI chose for me. Embodies simplicity, clarity, discipline, and emotional composure in execution. I'd like to have that, in my information. And then Dr. Benjamin Hardy, which I have been in his mastermind now for about 2 years, and he wrote the book that turned me on to is 10x is easier than 2x. And then it talks about what's going on here. But once I told it, this is what I'll call my system prompt. It says, hey, every time I start, it knows this is who it is. This is what we're going on with. So I asked a question. It said, I'll just share this one thing with you. It said, thinking of the next 12 to 18 months in the terms of what you foresee when it comes to change, not necessarily what's going to change, but more importantly, what do you see in the world of AI and marketing and attracting customers will not change, creating a bit of foundation to build upon. And I like that because it's like, up until just recently, I said, hey, my business in marketing is on human behavior. And with all these new bright, shiny objects, it's easy to get distracted and say, well, let's go do this. Let's go do this. So I won't bore you with the answer, but that's the kind of questions I can ask. And then it will give, each one of them will give an answer. And then I can do follow-up questions, right? So I have, so I talk about this and then they'll give an answer again. And I can stay on there as long as I want. And
too long.
But I can get to a point where I'm like, okay, I got satisfied. I got some direction. And these are some of the smartest, brightest minds on the planet. Why not? And you can do this with a health coach. You can do it with a dietitian. You can do it with a spiritual leader, whatever. You can make your own. I encourage you to try that and see how it goes.
It's fantastic. It really is fantastic.
Well, Leslie, as always, it's been another exciting episode of the Twisted Bent and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want you to go anywhere because we love filming back to back. So don't change any of your settings. So we should be able to just jump right in here and knock out this next one. But in the meantime, I think Leslie, you said something about episode 24. Tell us again about that.
Yeah, episode 24 is all about the changes in the internet and social media algorithms for, it just basically says you need AI optimization. If your SEO isn't AI optimized, if you're not using AI images, if you're not using AI tagged content, no longer will the search engines find you. You'll become invisible. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's absolutely true. A case in point, you can prove it to yourself. Go to Google, go to whatever browser you use, ask a question. Do you see any more paid ads coming up at the top? You do not. Mm-hmm. All you see is an AI response. So all those paid ads that we used to do and trying to keep ourselves at the top of the search engine are moot. It's a waste of money because it's not happening anymore. So now we have to rethink all of our approach to marketing and networking and digital media and changing it for AI. So we go into this in pretty good depth. I think I'm sleeping at the beginning of it, and somewhere I have a heart attack in the middle, pretty sure. So take the time to go look at this particular episode if you haven't seen it already, because it is crucial to the future of your business. And again, it's only, see right there, it says AI overview. I don't see any paid ads anymore.
Nope.
So episode 24, we went into this in quite a bit of detail. And actually, we pulled it up early. It was not supposed to go in until late September, but literally this change happened and we felt strongly that it should be out for everybody to see. And I've actually been sharing that particular episode with lots and lots of people because I don't want my colleagues to find themselves in a position where their social media, they're doing the same old thing and they're not getting where they want to go. So for sure, take a look at that one. And if you haven't subscribed and said that you like us or shared us, please do so. We really want to get our message out to as many people as possible. Remember, this is your survival guide. This is your small business owner entrepreneur, said it right, survival guide. We're telling you things that we know so that you don't have to start from scratch. So, follow us, like us, subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors. We really want to get our word out.
Leslie, now I before I let you go, I have your link up here, but I know you're doing something a little bit different. You're doing something called a 5-day challenge. Tell us about that real quick.
Right. That link goes to my educational program, 40 some videos of education. It's how to build your business for operational freedom. But the 5-day challenge I'm doing now is a free exercise. It's 1 day. It's 5 1-hour days or 5 45-minute days, basically. One-on-one. There's no group session. One-on-one, me and you talking about how to make your business better and identifying areas of opportunity. Everybody has some areas that they can improve. Everybody knows that they're not either automated properly, or they have too much non-billable time, or their marketing collateral isn't really communicating what they're trying to promote. And so we go through all these areas over 5 days, and I come up with tips and recommendations for how to get your business fixed right this minute. And so if you go out on any of our social media pages, you'll see a testimonial from one of our people who just recently finished this 5-day challenge. She was very, very happy with it. And if you're interested in getting your own 5-day challenge with me, then by all means, Jeff will have the link. There is a place where you can go right to the calendar and select a slot, and then we can get started from there. I only do 3 of these a week. So 3 people a week, that's it. And if you want to be one of them, you better get signed up.
But now, when you say 3 people a week, you're talking about 3 individuals, because you do only one-on-one, right? Yeah,
I only do one-on-one, so I don't do groups. A lot of people try to do a group and say, you can't really get a good feel for somebody's unique opportunities and issues without talking to them one-on-one. And I have a format for this. I have certain things I ask and go through every day. And the first 3 days are fact finding and identifying areas of opportunity. And then we get into really strongly about what we can do quickly to fix your business. And so far, everybody's loving it. They really do enjoy it.
Would you say you've engineered your 5 days?
I have engineered my 5 days. Yes, that's true.
All right, I won't go down that corny path.
So clever.
Here's something I'll put a little testimonial plug in there. I've had Leslie as a business coach, private business coach now for a couple of years, and she is and continues to be phenomenal and help me in my world in business. And I couldn't thank her enough. And I pay her money for this, and so it's important. She is not charging anything for these 5 days. I get to see her 1 day. Now it's been about every other month. And
we need to do it more often, by the way.
More about that. But you're going to get her 5 days in a row. So the continuity is unbelievable. So make sure to check in the description in the show notes. You'll see that link in there. It'll take you to the landing page, give you more about it. And then you can sign up from there and just pick a date on a calendar. And don't get frustrated. If you can't get something starting tomorrow, put it on your calendar and get it, because she'll only become busier and so much more in demand. She's already in tremendous demand. That's why she's only doing 3 days a week, or 3 each week, is because she would love to do more, but she has 2 businesses to run that are extremely successful. But this is her give back. So please make sure to find that information in the show notes and get signed up. Leslie,
thanks, Jeff. No, just thank you for always being supportive and for us working together for the last 15 years. And doing these podcasts are hilarious and so much fun. I really enjoy them. I don't know if you enjoy them as much as I do, but I do enjoy them very much.
Once we get going, we're okay. Once we get past that technical challenge, we're good. We're good. No,
I know.
We get something to talk about every Tuesday in our BNI meetings. So
that's true.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, please, if you like the show, please give us a comment, positive 5 stars. If you can't get 5, go for 6. Do something different. And we'll see you next time on the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted podcast. Thanks for doing it again, everybody.
Bye, guys.